Studios. This is the Hour Stream. Welcome.
Woohoo! Yay!
I know I wasn't here last week, so I'm glad to be back.
It's great to have you back. Laurel was an absolute delight, but you're my brother from another mother.
Brother. Got him.
Yeah, we'll figure that out later.
How are you, though? I don't see you on a weekly basis, so...
Right.
Time to catch up.
Just 100 feet, not even that far, like 10 feet away from me. But
it feels that far with that door.
It does. So far, I know.
Because you're my brother.
Right. It's been good. I'm great. We're just plugging away at different tasks. James working on his financial report, things about the Houston manufacturing sector. He's going to report that out to the Ops Council. They're meeting later this month. September
7th.
Next month. Oh gosh, it's only
August already.
I know.
It's already August.
I know. It's so sad.
It's so fast.
And then myself working on that report for Embodied Carbon, doing a lot of digging around, kind of bid tabs, learning a lot more, which is cool.
Wow, look
I
at
know.
you
I've actually been looking at drawings, which is pretty crazy.
Wow, the first time after 2 years?
I know. Who thought in construction you'd be looking at drawings? But it's been really great. Been meeting with a lot of people. Nick Vargo's been helping me a lot. I met with Justin Gray and Haley Teneo.
Haley. Shadow.
Yeah, they've been helping me. Nick Hatcher as well. So I'm getting to talk with Pre-Con a little
getting
bit.
around.
I even talked to Nelson this morning.
Nelson.
I know.
Lucky.
I caught him walking by. But yeah, all these people have been incredibly helpful. What's
the one coolest thing you've learned in your...
One coolest thing?
I think that kind of rattled your chair. Or your shoes as you were standing in these conversations.
I don't know. So I guess some of the prices for things that are just like... It's crazy how much just like masonry can cost, or like just like concrete masonry unit, right? Just CMU, how much that thing can cost. I don't remember how much, but it's like I think it was like $500,000. It's like, this is crazy for just these little blocks.
Little blocks, he says. Everyone, little blocks.
I mean,
it's not Lego blocks, Hagen. These are 4 buildings. 8 blocks.
I know, but it's crazy how high those prices can get for something that's originally just so small. It makes sense, but I don't know. That's I guess rattled me. Just looking at the prices of these things. Like, wow,
they get to see why prices get expensive.
Yeah, I can see why. But
you know who else is high on life? RO with the latest awards we've gotten.
Oh wow, okay. Hit us.
Have you heard of any of these? Have you seen?
Laurel mentioned a few. She mentioned we were up for nomination for some. I don't know if anything has changed since then.
Well, let me give you an update.
Okay, please do.
We have 2 nominations and 2 won awards.
Okay.
So the first one nominated is for Procore Groundbreak Award for Excellence in Innovation.
Oh wow! Okay. Wow.
So that's a big deal. Big conference coming up in September.
Yeah.
Procore, we're big partners and fans of them.
Of course.
The winners will be announced at Groundbreak, September 19th and 20th.
Oh wow!
So look out for those news.
That's gonna be exciting.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
And this is just in. Carolyn Carabinos was named finalist for the ABJ's 2023 Women in Business Awards.
Wow, cool.
So sounds like we need to have her on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good luck to her. So those are the 2 nominations. There are 2 actual wins. Not an exciting one. The one you probably are thinking of from Laurel's, the SMPS Marketing Communications Award. This for Internal Communications Mixed Media Award for our 3-year strategy campaign.
Wow. Nice.
So that's pretty big.
Cool. All right.
And then the other one, air horns. The other one is the Tilt Up Achievement Award for 1401 Philomania. I've heard of both ways. Philomena TC1B from the Tilt Up Concrete Association.
Wow.
It's also pretty big.
Pretty
We've done a handful of Tilt Up projects, so it's kind of good to be recognized. So
I didn't know we were up for anything like that. That's pretty nifty.
You talk to all these people, you don't hear about this?
They don't tell me these things. They just tell me numbers.
Well, congratulations to RO and everyone involved.
Absolutely.
Shout out to marketing for doing all this together. And good luck to Carolyn Carabinos and us in Procore. So yeah, big, lots of things happening.
Yes.
Also at the same time, also sad things happening.
Oh no.
Our interns have left the building.
Oh my God, I feel so empty in here.
It is empty. Empty nest. I cannot relate to parents when their kids leave for college.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now you'll never know if they come back. Like, oh,
I know, that's so
see.
sad.
It is sad.
But they were great.
They were great. It was a great summer.
Mm-hmm.
Great feedback. And
Yeah.
looking forward to next year.
Yeah. Always.
But you know what it stands for?
Is it related to years and things that happened in the past?
Maybe.
Oh, right.
If the wheel will tell us.
The wheel will tell us.
And we do have a very special guest today spinning the wheel.
Oh, yes.
This young lady is coming all the way from the Dallas, Texas.
Just to spin the wheel?
That's right.
Wow.
She drove all the way. She's committed to the cause. We have our very own Eloisa Fernandez with the VDC department. She's making a special appearance, so she's going to turn the wheel. So let's just tune in and see how she spins it. In 3, 2, go. Ooh, solid spin. See, VDC people have some grit.
Grit.
And this segment we're talking about, it's RO wins.
RO wins.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's a nice echo in your voice.
mine? I hear it very often.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you,
me.
Louisa.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks,
Louisa.
Oh, it's a good
Great
thing I took all
spin.
these notes. Yes, RO wins. So we're going to talk real quickly
Is
about
it like
some...
RO project wins, or is this what type of wins? Can you elaborate? So for our new viewers who might not be aware.
Right. Yes. We're talking anniversaries first,
Mm,
and then we have one project that wrapped up. Well, there's a few, but then there's one project we're going to highlight.
Do you have math
Chocolate
equations on your cheat sheet?
Yeah, I had to do some. Anyway, so we have some quick anniversaries. 2 years to Montrell Rice, end user support up in Dallas. I always thought it was interesting because his name is like his
Montrell
email
Rice.
is
You're
M
making
Rice.
fun of his name?
No, his email is M Rice, but it's also Mr. Ice, which is kind of cool.
Mr. Rice.
Oh, just Mr. Ice.
Mr. Ice. Sounds chilly.
And then 2 years also to Chris Patton.
Ooh, big
VDC
boss
director.
man.
Yeah. You got any fun stories about him
Yeah, no, I think he.
that are appropriate?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay. Well, then we'll move on.
We'll pick a PG. Now, before you go to the 3 year,
Yes.
there's another 2 year anniversary that you kind of forgot.
I didn't forget. I wrote it down right here.
Oh, I don't see DDA has also a 2 year
DDA, really?
anniversary. Yeah, sorry, DDA. I got you though, because someone apparently doesn't do the research,
Yeah.
even though it's on their title.
Right.
So
Yeah, but our own end user support here in Austin.
I know you see him almost every day, and you forgot about him.
I saw him this morning.
He
I said
deserves
hi.
an apology
I'm sorry, DDA.
in person.
I'll go say hi. I'll go say sorry. I'll go say hi. And then 3 years, Brent Wright, the Dallas visualization specialist. I learned recently that Cesar has a
Fun fact.
yes, Cesar has his little availability light, whether he's available or not.
Right.
Brent has an availability sombrero. So apparently, when he's working, when he doesn't want to be disturbed, he's wearing a sombrero.
Oh, I like that.
I do like that too.
I might have to steal it.
Yeah. And then 5 years, Ethan Brule,
Ooh.
assistant super here in Austin. I couldn't find any interesting things about him.
Yeah, congrats, 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years is
Pretty
quite a
awesome.
lot. And then Cesar made me so self-conscious about saying this guy's name. Octavio
say-
Hernandez.
Who?
Octavio Hernandez? Octavio
What?
Hernandez.
One more time.
Anyway, he's a super up in Dallas, and apparently he's been likened to Popeye. So Popeye in Espanol is Popeye.
Nice.
Thanks, Eloise. So that's what people tend to call him, apparently.
Popeye?
Yeah.
Really? Does he eat spinach too?
I asked the same question.
Oh
She
my
didn't know.
gosh. Oh,
No, maybe he does. Maybe we'll have him on one day.
and we'll give him spinach
Yeah.
for lunch.
So those are some of the anniversaries.
Congrats again.
occurred. Yes,
Shout out.
congratulations to everyone. And then we have one project, the SMU Southeast Development Project, which Mr. Holmes is pulling up there for us. It's an 8,000 square foot project, dedicated building for lacrosse, both men's and women's lacrosse. It's primarily...
Oh, you a lacrosse fan?
No.
Oh. Keep going.
Okay. And it'll also have room for concessions as well as some stands there. Very similar to our own Clark Field on the UT campus. However, they have 6 tennis courts also at the facility. So, although I guess there are tennis courts near Clark Field at UT as well.
Yeah.
But anyway,
next to it.
six tennis courts there. So it also accommodates I don't know, you can kind of maybe see some of the lines there. So for soccer, rugby, baseball as well. I didn't know they could play baseball out there, but apparently they can. And this was
Any
completed back in 2015.
Oh,
So
wow.
One of our projects with the SMU folks up in Dallas.
And then recently, I mean, Eloisa is just getting highlights. She was recently coordinating the SMU latest project there.
Wow.
I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Don't like me to talk to Eloisa again.
Well, she's usually not here.
Well,
But I'll schedule a meeting.
yeah, you have Didier, Eloisa to talk to after this.
Yes, sir. But that's been RO wins.
That's pretty good. Boo, 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 boo.
Yeah, I was hoping the sound. How we doing on time? We got time for one more?
Oh.
Yeah, we'll make it quick. Could we get Eloisa back?
Can we
in
get
the room,
Eloisa
please?
back? Yeah.
Just to spin the wheel?
Clap, claps.
Here she comes.
Oh, here she
Oh,
comes.
oh gosh.
Oh,
We
my
might not have the
I'm
camera for
nervous.
this one. We're still working on things here. But we're improving every day, just a little bit better. Ooh.
Around the world. Is that it? I can get confirmation from
Can we get
someone.
confirmation?
Around the world.
That is correct. Ooh,
building
thank you, producers.
around
Thank you,
the
producers.
world. Okay, more talking for me, I guess.
You're doing great.
Yeah,
Don't let me stop
I
you.
just love talking. So this one I'm going to be talking about the Tennessee Titans' new stadium.
Ooh.
I'm sure Karchi will enjoy this one, as well
He
as
was everything else.
he was Anthony
Yeah.
Karchi. You should go check
it on
his-
YouTube.
You should, check it on YouTube. And I also learned. Lauren Lott, graphic designer up in Dallas. I believe she used to do graphic design for the Titans as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, she was the one. I don't know if for those viewers out there that are used to our segments and our history,
Mhm.
those little stickers that Grammar had made for us, she designed those.
Oh,
So-
nice, that's nice.
Shout out to Lauren. But this stadium is 1.75 million square feet with a capacity for 62,000 fans. There's also a dedicated 12,000 square feet for a community space where they might host events and things of that nature. And they're aiming for LEED Gold, which is pretty good. Always about sustainability. That's awesome. And it also sparked this One Community. So it's a community benefits platform focusing on providing opportunities for small and diverse owned businesses, as well as supporting local neighborhoods and education in the area. So it's not just about the football. It's about everything else around
It's about the community
Yeah, absolutely.
of Titans.
Yes.
No wonder they need so much space.
Yeah.
Do you know how big this project is valued at?
I believe, yes, $2.1 billion.
$1 billion? Wow.
So I believe there's about 1.6 or so that's maybe 1.4 or so that the city is funding, and then about 800 million that the Titans themselves are funding. I know that those numbers don't add up to 2.1 billion. I get it, James, but it's somewhere around those numbers. I forget the exact, but that's what I got for you.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
And that's been Building Around the World. I hate the mic.
Oh.
I'm liking the sound effects more often.
Yeah. They're doing a great job back there behind the cameras.
Oh, thank you. Oh, but you know who else is doing a great job on the field?
Who?
It's our guest today.
Oh, who is he or she?
You've seen him.
I have. I just saw him.
You saw him like 2 minutes.
Oh, that's who it was?
That's who
I
it
had no
is.
idea.
Wow, you get to learn about him here shortly.
Okay, great.
We have our very own Rick Brown.
Rick Brown.
Rick Brown. So I know we... air horns all around.
Uh-huh.
So I've had the pleasure to work with him slightly for a little bit in one of our medical projects.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did some VDC, a little bit of scanning, I think, 360 photos. But yeah, no, he's a very, very straight to the point guy. But when you get to talk to him, he's a nice and warm, fuzzy teddy bear with a nice little blue bow. So eager for you to get to talk to him.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to talk to him.
Well, you get to listen.
Okay.
To him.
Yeah.
And then I'm excited for everyone to get to know Rick Brown. He's an all-star. He's a guy on the field. He gets things done.
Mm.
And I know recently he showed interest in robotics. So
Maybe James and him will have some interesting things to talk about.
I know.
then.
I think he's very into the innovation and making things easier and better out there. So we'll let him see what he has to say.
Okay.
Without further ado, after this commercial,
Right.
you'll listen
A little ado.
to the conversation between James Holmes and Rick Brown.
Yay, Rick.
Yeah, I think that's his future. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, we'll find out. That's true.
Mr. Rick Brown,
Yes,
thank you for joining us today, sir.
you are welcome.
How are things going? How's life?
Life's good. Couldn't be better.
Man, I learned recently, and now I had heard rumors, but I learned for certain last night in an email that you're a bit of a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, actually did for about 10 years. A bunch of buddies of mine with another company had a wild idea. And so we started doing stand-up comedy for charity, and it went on for almost over 10 years. And we used to go in Houston and Austin and Dallas and put shows on and raise money. So,
That's awesome. That's a lot of respect for anyone that's willing to get in front of a mic and try and get an audience to laugh. I can't imagine what it's just got to be an unparalleled pressure to perform and perform well and make sure that you're hitting the timing right and all that. So a lot of respect for doing that. And then you're out there doing it for charity too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not out there just trying to line your pocket so you can get a new bass boat or whatever.
Yeah,
new
correct.
lake house. You're out there trying to make the world a better place.
well, I had the looks down, so that was funny enough. But then I had to develop jokes because I wasn't going to live on the looks alone. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I still get the itch to do it once in a while. And it was really geared towards construction, and we made a commitment that it was going to be clean comedy.
Okay.
And we kept it that way, and so we pushed the envelope just a little bit, but it was for some great causes. In fact, we actually went down on a trip to Guatemala for one of the causes we did, and we spent a week down there working on a hospital and things of that sort too. So it had quite an impact, and it wasn't just here; it was an impact in Guatemala as well. So
that's one of those things where it seems like it would. You said that was a group of guys that you were working with at the time. That's going to break down so many barriers and create such a tight knit group of coworkers, of people, that you would all be kind of like a supercharged team at that point. Did you feel like that was the case? Did you guys were able to move at exceptional speed with those projects you were working on and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, what it was an icebreaker for the industry. I mean, we're under a lot of stress as it is, but these nights of comedy, I mean, we had trade partners and everyone that were coming out to these things, and it was a great thing. And it's funny to have people just come up to you and go, "Hey, aren't you that guy?" and or quote your jokes back to you. And it's kind of funny to have that happen through time. But it's something, as far as us guys, I mean, it was always a commitment for the charity. And it was really our goal is to help others through it. And you talk about a golden opportunity. Those are the kind of things come around once in a lifetime to do something like that. We did some crazy videos. I'm going to say one of them, probably the funniest one we did was called ASS, Acute Safety Syndrome, was one that we did. So yeah, and we did several videos like that where we, and those take so much time and commitment. So
I can appreciate that.
And some of our stuff is on YouTube, but I won't tell you how to get to it.
Oh, I've got my afternoon filled up now. I know what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to turn on a VPN and go into incognito mode, going into
the other
YouTube
part of
searching for that.
The other part of it too, that was kind of the downside of it, our wives don't think we're funny. And so we learned quickly not to practice our jokes with them and stuff because they didn't want anything to do with it. But no, they were very supportive. I don't want to get the wrong impression. But, yeah.
No, that's, you got to be able to separate work and personal life a little bit. So
that's very true.
I could see a spouse looking at it, and although it might be jokes, they're like, could you stop with the RFI safety joke stuff? I've had enough. We talk about the house. You haven't painted the kitchen yet. What's the holdup? When are you gonna get that done?
Yeah, a lot of stuff like that.
Only projecting my life a little bit into that statement.
Yeah, and I mean, we had some great evenings where we called it joke night, and you can imagine like 4 guys around a table with some bourbons and writing comedy, and it can get a little crazy. So,
I bet.
But yeah, we had a lot of fun with it, and a lot of great things came out of it.
It sounds like a blast. For those that aren't familiar with yourself, what's your current role here at RO?
Well, I'm a senior superintendent, and I lean strongly towards the medical side of things. I'm kind of I really liked science and medicine and things of that sort, so it was a great fit for me to get into that. And I actually pestered a project manager for for a month, kept coming to his office. He finally said, "Okay, go sink or swim. Here's a project." And here I am almost, 25 years later. So I really enjoy it. And it's a whole different ball game out there. We do a lot of construction that interacts with the safety of, not only the community and those on the job, but when you're in a job and and what you do could affect an actual life of a patient. I mean, there's a whole nother level there that is respect that you have to have going into that job and just working with doctors and nurses and staff all the time.
Sounds like the kind of nerdy side of you there drew you in a bit, but also there's a compassion element, an empathetic element of being able to create the rooms that provide or that allow caretakers to provide for people and keep folks healthy and fight off all those bad diseases and things like that. And it's
and it's part of my free medical care program too, because every once in a while they'll say, "Hey, we need a guinea pig for a CT or an MRI." So, hey, I'm benefiting from it. So let's go down that road, a little bit. But so.
But between that, then you were in the military. Is that correct?
Yes, I was. I was in the United States Air Force.
So between whatever they shot you up with and then CT scans and all that, you either got about 3 hours left or 300 years.
Yeah, or one brain cell. So. Yeah, that's about all I have.
If you've got one brain cell left, that guy is really doing some heavy lifting right now. He's making it happen.
He's doing the 90-10 thing. So,
what'd you do in the Air Force there, Mr. Brown?
Actually, I was in airfield management, and we oversaw the airfield. We would file the flight plans for the fighter aircraft, and the air base I was on was an F-4 fighter, which was a famous fighter during the Vietnam War, and was what they called the flying tank. And that's about what it was like. So we did a lot of things. I did crash investigations and things of that sort, and flight line security and safety, and just a lot of different things.
That's one of those things that I think a lot of people don't appreciate with the military. Is there's, I think, to people outside of defense industry and all that, they think like, oh, you go and you have a job, and that's your job for the next 20 years. And it's really more like you have your MOS or whatever they call it in the Air Force, your quote unquote job, but then it changes every 18, 20, 24 months where it's like, okay, now you're doing this, now you're doing that. Mm-hmm. So you kind of end up having a whole different variety of experiences, even though your job is airfield management. Yeah. So that's kind of I've always had an appreciation for the folks that come out of the military because they probably have some experiences that you may not have thought of, and have done some things that a lot of people wouldn't sign up for. So thank you for your service.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It was F4. There's nothing better than some close air support out of never got to deal with the F4s, but the A-10s or even the F-16s. That's you guys are a lifesaver to the guys.
We saw everything. I saw one of the last flights of an SR-71 before they decommissioned those, and
it was at this point in our story that we had encountered some technical difficulties during this stream. Our apologies for any discontinuity. Now back to the one and only Rick Brown.
You mentioned that's how you were taught. Go out, like I said, you go into the room, and remember being a young framer in construction, and you go out there with someone who's been doing it for a lifetime. They go, yeah, what's wrong with things? And it forces you to look at everything very critically. And there's obviously an opportunity for superintendents to do that. I feel like that doesn't happen as much with a lot of the support departments, and also even to some degree project management. I think there's so much more on the line when it comes to like, hey, what's wrong with this contract, as compared to actually reviewing the construction. But I love the way that you're kind of wargaming it, if you will, going through and taking someone that's your junior through things. Yeah. Do you think there's ways that we could be doing that better as support departments or as project managers and assistant project managers?
I think the key thing is really a lot of what you learn in construction is in the field. And in project management, you have a lot of the financials and stuff, which isn't so much the field stuff, but having that full understanding of how things are built is critical. I mean, I take the young project managers and I take the young QC guys out, and I do the same thing with them, and walk the job with them. So, because if you know how it's built, you know how to estimate it, you know how to do pre-con on it, you know how to do all these things, look for quality control. I mean, like I always say, they teach you a lot of things in college, but what I've always heard from the guys is, man, I never learned this in college. And so that's the thing. You want to fill that gap that they didn't get, and maybe through their construction education. And there's a lot there to get. And the key thing is to make sure you realize I haven't learned anything. I haven't learned everything, and I'm not going to ever know everything. And so I lean a lot on other people when they come. I lean on the young guys for the things I don't know, and to learn from them as well. And if you have that kind of attitude, like I always say, you need to manage under people, not over them, and that's going to make you successful.
Man, this the perfect definition of servant leadership there. And you see those people or departments, and they might have a singularity that does well, but they fail to turn that into an effective team. And I think more often than not, it is that. What'd you call it? Managing.
Manage under them, not over them.
Yeah, they're managing over them rather than under them. They're just you don't ever build that groundswell of information and experience and knowledge to allow things to propagate on their own. You're constantly having to be engaged. So good job, sir.
Yeah, I think part of what the industry's done, starting to do, and even RO is really good at, is you can't pigeonhole people, and it happens far too often that I've seen over the years where they get a person, they pigeonhole them, and that's where they stay. Well, they're never going to grow. They're never going to be more valuable to you as a company if you don't let them grow and expand out. And I think that's a good thing that RO does, is they really truly care about you learning what you want to learn and taking your direction and your path that you want to learn. And they're doing some great things, even recently with Propel, that's going to really help with that. So it's just great things going on.
So how did you get your start at RO? You're in the Air Force for a while. It sounds like you're kind of off doing some other things in the construction world before you landed here. What got you here?
Well, I can honestly say I was one of those guys that I started pushing a broom on a job site over 30 years ago. That's how I got my start. I didn't go through college that avenue or anything, but how I got to RO was I was working for a company that was out of Ohio, and they had a Houston office, and they ended up closing the office, so I was going to be unemployed, and so that was the main thing. And a recruiter just happened to call me at the time, and I was looking, and we were also looking to get out of Houston, somewhere maybe towards the hill country, and one thing came to another, and next thing I know, I'm sitting down with Alan and John Archer, and we're doing an interview, and the next thing I know, we're getting hired. So it worked out real well. It's been great since.
Ohio to Houston, that's a bit of a change.
The company was in Ohio, but I was working in Houston, and it was quite a change for that company, and I think they had some lessons learned. It's a tough city.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
That's tough for a Texas-based GC to get into, or for the the big players out there. So yeah, if you're coming in from out of town, that's even more of a fight. But man, well, I'm happy you made it over here, and happy that John and Alan saw some light shining in there.
Well, they did see the envelope under the table, so that did work. It was pretty good.
Was that to make up for the comedy routine, or was that
no? That was just what they said they needed for me to be hired. Yeah. So, but luckily in my contract, I was able to get some of that back. But it all worked out.
Working the system.
Yeah.
So I love it. Excuse me. Who have been some people that have been influential to you inside and outside of RO?
I think in RO, the way I look at it is everybody I meet, because everybody has something that they're going to add to your life and your career. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. I think you learn from everyone, and I think everyone is influential to you in a certain way. And I always, in meeting new people, there's always something really good about them, or something that I didn't know that I learned from them. So I would just say everybody is influential in RO that I come across, meet, and work with. And so personally, I would say my wife, first of all, has been a big influence in me, not in me, but for me. But another one was a foster mom I had, was Mary Lou Secor. She actually was a great woman. And there's just quite a story there, not enough time for that. But she got me introduced into sports at a very young age. And sports is what kind of kept me out of trouble, which was a good thing, because I was quite the kid, getting in trouble all the time. And I had a lot of coaches and other people along the way that, and I take the same kind of attitude towards everybody I meet, even outside of work. They have something that they can teach you, or you're going to learn from them. And like I said, it's not always good. Sometimes it's bad. Some people, they're mean people. I don't want to be mean. So I learned from them on what not to do, and it reinforces things like that. So, so that's kind of influential people in work or personal.
Yeah. What were some of the sports you're into in particular? Anything that
I was track was my
Okay.
biggest sport, and then of course football. But yeah, I played softball. I didn't play baseball. I played softball, and I did. I played semi-professionally softball. Did a lot of tournaments and things like that all over Vegas and things like that. So
Oh, hold on. I didn't. I caught drift to the comedian thing here and there throughout the years you've been here. Semi-professional softball?
semi-professional in softball back when I was doing it means you could actually make money in a tournament, and you actually could make some money, and that was it. It wasn't like major, but that was the big deal. You'd go and be able to win tournaments, and there was tournaments you could win up to $25,000 and things or more, and so just things
kidding.
like that. Yeah, it was huge.
You said this was out in Vegas that you were playing in these
Well, I
tournaments?
played in Vegas. I played in California mainly the whole time.
Okay.
But there were just tournaments you'd go to, and yeah, it was just even in the Air Force we'd play in tournaments and things. But yeah, it was fun. And then I got slow and old.
Wise and I'm anything for slow. Wise and responsible, maybe.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
watching out for those ACLs now.
Know your constraints and know when you need to say it's time to quit.
That does bring up I think an interesting point. I think there's probably a lot to be learned from being engaged in sports.
Yeah.
Whether it be working with a team, losing together, winning together.
Yeah.
Do you think there are lessons that we could take from, I think of like the RO kickball team. You think there's lessons we could take that are learned there and apply them into kind of the day-to-day life?
Yeah, I think it's recognizing your strengths first, and then your weaknesses, and then shoring up whatever your weaknesses are. And that doesn't always mean removing the weakest link. That means investing in the weakest link to make it stronger. And it might not be the strongest link, but if you're doing everything you can to make that link stronger, it just improves everything around you. And so that's the kind of an approach I've always taken. So,
Well, based on everything that I've read, or everything, a lot of things I've read, seems to be a well reinforced approach to things. There's no sense in trying to take someone's weakest spots and make it their strongest. It's just not going to work. There's probably some happening in nature, nurture, who knows, but cause them to have those strengths and those weaknesses. So lean into the good stuff. Find a way to leverage that to the best of your ability, and build a functioning team around those strengths rather than trying to say, well, let's figure out what your three worst attributes are and improve on those.
And I read something interesting in a book that said, people hire you for your strengths. They don't hire you for your weaknesses. So there's this mentality that, so why do we focus so much on our weaknesses and not our strengths? If we're building the best of what we are and focusing truly 100% of our energy on that, then it's really where we want to be. We're trying to, because our weaknesses might not be our strong point. So why are we trying to make them our strong point? And so I know that's kind of deep, water's getting deep here, but
I like it.
I like, it's like, I know what my weaknesses are and I know what my strengths are. So I'm going to use my strengths to my best ability, and someone else is going to be able to fill the gap because my weaknesses will be their strengths.
You already mentioned going in the deep end, so let's go all the way into Barton Springs there. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's this kind of innate approach with any human to find those weaknesses and want to focus on those? Because it does seem that's the default. Whatever it may be, if you're talking about cars, people want to talk about why that brand is bad or why that vehicle is bad. If you talk about individuals, people tend to highlight the inadequacies of that individual more than their strengths. There's got to be something going on there that just causes us to default to that more negative outlook, I guess. Do you have any thoughts on why
I think
that
it's
is?
I think it's the human condition, human nature to be in some senses. I think it's something we just innately are born and we do. And I think it takes effort to not do that and focus on that. And will you ever eradicate it? No. You're never going to be able to do that because you can't control the human condition. You can improve who you are and who's around you, but that's typically it. I just think it's something that has always been, and I don't focus on it. I just try to focus on what we can work on and the strengths and stuff. Yeah, am I guilty of it? Yeah, I've done it and in the past and things, but I try not to do that. As you get older, you learn quickly that it's not worth the energy and effort. So
That's well put, and I think something to definitely reflect on. And
Yeah.
in particular, that just the fact that you're never going to eradicate it, like you said. It's
Yeah.
something you're going to have to deal with. So you're going to have to find ways to change your thinking or your approach or whatever to get off that bandwagon or
Correct.
train or
Correct.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
What do you like to do for fun there whenever you're not, playing softball, semi-pro, and building hospitals in Guatemala and doing a comedy routine with Larry the Cable Guy? What do you like to do for fun that's not those things?
Well, I do like to build things. I'm pretty handy. I've learned how to build things a lot over the year, and I ran a company for a while in California doing that kind of stuff. There's minor remodels and construction. I like to do that. My wife and I love floating the river in the Guadalupe and hiking and camping. Movies and dining out, hanging out with family and friends is a big part of that. And then, like I said, I get together with my comedy buddies, as much as we can. Unfortunately, we lost one last year to COVID. He was kind of the anchor of the team, but yeah, it hit home hard, but we still have great memories and stories, and we continue to build more. And he's just somebody who'll never be out of our memory and times together and stuff. So
You said you started a company there. You like to build things?
yeah, I like to tinker. I mean, my wife has this retirement plan for me already, and so she's working on that. As far as making things out of cedar wood, she comes up with all these ideas all the time, and I said, "Okay, we'll file that. When I get to retirement, I'll look at doing that and stuff." But yeah, I love to tinker with things as well. I've always had that. I worked on a farm for years back in Iowa where I grew up, and so I mean that's one of the things I think that strengthened me as a superintendent was the fact that. By the end of the season and being a farmer, you're holding things together with duct tape and baling wire until the winter comes and you can actually work on things. So I was able to learn how to really fix problems on the fly quickly. And I think that really rolls into being a superintendent because you're juggling so many balls at the same time and having to make decisions quickly. So
I don't know if we have a contest for most interesting man at RO yet, most interesting man or woman at RO yet, but I'm going to go ahead and put forth some sort of nomination for Rick Brown as most interesting person at RO.
Oh, come on.
Farming in Iowa?
Yeah.
For fun?
No, actually, to make money. There was very
Is that why they do it?
Iowa's sparsely populated, so if you really want to make money, you have to probably do something on the farm. And so we would walk beans, bale hay, detassel corn, take care of the livestock, all kinds of stuff. Clean out the barns. There was a lot of things that we did, and so that's how I would make money a lot of the time, so I could buy the things I need to buy. Because I didn't really have an allowance, so I had to go make it. Paper out, things of that sort.
Gosh, yeah. Well, to your point, there is some. Yeah, being out on the farm, literally, especially out in Iowa, I think today it's still a relatively low population and foreign state. You got to be able to fix. You can't get on Amazon and get a new combine delivered 2 days after the one you have out there breaks.
No.
And that corn, that wheat, the cotton, the whatever isn't going to wait for you either to get harvested. It's going to go bad on the vine, or you're going to get it to market when you need to. So yeah, there's a certain level of ingenuity and ability to repair things and think creatively and work with what you got. That I think is again highly admirable of the folks out there doing that. And I'm starting to build a really good mental model of Rick Brown here. Farmer, Air Force, superintendent, comedian, softball player.
It was fun. It's been a fun life, and it'll be a great life, when it's all over. But yeah, farming taught me a lot because you're dependent on the weather, and that's something that you have no control over. So you're sweating it when your crops are drying up and you hadn't had rain. And then, all of a sudden, the final minute, all of a sudden, God just blankets you with rain and your crops are going to survive and things of that sort. So there's no guarantees. And I always tell people, I said, before we even put a crop in the ground, farmers have spent tens of thousands of dollars just to start, and they haven't even got anything in the ground yet for herbicides, pesticides, fuel, things of that sort. So it's a very expensive type industry, and also it's one of the most deadliest industries as far as injuries and deaths as well. And just like in construction, it's a very dangerous job, and so we always had to be careful of what we were doing around the machinery and things of that sort. So yeah, there was a lot of parallels from farming to being a superintendent in construction as well.
What was it like timber, farming, construction? I think those are usually the top three for OSHA instance and all that. You ever miss it? Being in Iowa and farming and all that?
Yeah, actually, when I go back on visits and stuff, I'm usually trying to find a way to get out in the field, drive a tractor, do something like that, or drive a truck to the grain silos and stuff like that. I always like to get involved. I don't want to walk beans or do anything like that anymore, but they don't need to do that anymore. But as far as vaccinating and doing things with the cows and the piglets and things like that, I mean, I'll jump in and do that. That's one thing that I guess I learned is I'm not afraid to work at all and work hard. So,
man, you just mentioned vaccinations. That made me think of who is that? Luis Pascal, that with smallpox, and he realized that the people milking the cows weren't getting smallpox, and went and sliced open cysts on the cows that had cowpox and injected into his own family to see what's going to happen here, and realized, they don't, or they get a very minor case of smallpox versus the highly lethal one. And I feel like the modern interpretation of a farmer isn't one of a pharmaceutical genius, but it's not. They're not. It's just they aren't. I don't think people know fewer farmers now as we've shifted away from that kind of agrarian society into a more urban one. I don't know that we fully appreciate them as much as we probably should for their genius, past, present, and future.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Just hearing that from you made me think of when you're in those environments, you start connecting a lot of dots. Yeah, and it's like, wait a minute, you're exposed to a lot of things that you wouldn't elsewise be if you're a
city boy.
I was going to say coastal elite.
Okay.
City boy sounds a lot more. Yeah,
inner city boy.
Right. Goes off to
or girl. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We had a lot of girls out there
who were
real tough on the farm. I mean, they'd beat the boys up. But then we'd be beating them up during the week and dancing on the weekend. So it was kind of a real nice.
Sounds like personal experience.
Yeah.
So if you had $100 million, there's no caveats here. It's not a trick question. The mob isn't coming after you for not paying it back or anything like that.
Do I have to pay taxes on it?
Let's say no.
Okay, great.
It's already been taxes have already been paid.
Because I was recalculating down to $7 million or $70 million. So
What would you do with that $100 million, there, Mr. Brown?
Well, that's real easy. The first thing I'd do is donate a large part of that to my church. In fact, my church right now that I attend is getting ready to build a new building, and so I would do that. Secondly, I would try to create a better and new life for my mom and my sister who've had a very rough time in life, and just try to end of life for my mother to be more comfortable and more enjoyable than what it is currently. And the same thing with my sister. And then I probably at that point, what I would use the rest of the money for is to pay people to finish my new home that I built while I'm sitting back drinking a bourbon in my yard. That's probably what I would do instead of doing it all myself.
With some green M&Ms in a bowl.
The green M&Ms too. So, but you got to be inside because they'll melt. And you just get chocolate syrup and peanuts.
Have I been lied to my whole life? I thought they were the one that.
Have you been outside at 105 degrees with a bowl of M&Ms? It doesn't look pretty. It's not pretty. No.
I can't say that I have.
Okay.
Been outside and I think how I feel. I'm like, yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Man, so taking care of family, taking care of the church, and then giving yourself some free time, some time to relax.
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge you on that. I don't think you could do that.
I am one that can sit down and watch a movie like any guy for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And just go blank. So yeah, I can completely unwind and detach. And that's one thing I've learned over the years that I didn't, as a young superintendent, I couldn't detach. In fact, an interesting story was my wife and I were going on an anniversary trip to Alaska. I was on a huge, massive project overseeing a team. And we got back from the trip and she goes, "Oh, now you've relaxed." So I was uptight the entire trip, just trying to unwind. And so I think the key is just not to take it so personally, and learning to, when you walk out that door and you're driving home, to just leave it.
Yeah. Maybe 3-4 hours you'd sit there and be able to watch
Sometimes
people.
I have to.
And then I think you'd see someone and there'd be a finish nail up in your trim sticking out an 1/8 inch. Here you go.
Yeah.
Let's get that in.
Well, there's many a night my wife, I've gotten up at 2 a.m. and gone into work because I can't sleep. Just because I couldn't sleep and the job was and just rolling through my head. And I've learned that that's just not healthy to do. And you gotta shut it down. So I've learned some techniques to do that.
What are some of those techniques, tools, tips you could provide to those out there that are living that right now, that wake up in the middle of the night and they're, cold sweat because they're worried about a pour coming up, or did that submittal get done, or is that contract all proper and good to go?
Probably the easiest thing to say is if you weren't there tomorrow, would it get done? Second thing is I learned this and I've never done this, but it was a cool thing, is come home and there's a tree as I go down my sidewalk, and you just touch the leaves and say the leaves are taking my stress from me, and just leaving it there, and just realizing that, you're going home to your family. They're there. They're your next box in your head that you have to deal with, and want to be with, and stuff like that. And those are a couple things. And then another one I use is the eraser board. Put it all on the board and start to erase it in your mind, a blackboard. And it really does work and help me to unwind and realize, I don't need to worry about the stuff right now.
Excellent tips. That's I think there's level 2 of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of folks, myself included, I'm usually rather hesitant to say, "Hey, I'm not doing so well."
Yeah.
Need a change of pace or whatever the issue is. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we've matured as a species and as an industry enough to realize that mental health is equally as important as the physical health. So if you are out there and you're feeling burned out, overtaxed, stressed, and all that, there's some of that's inescapable, right? That comes with the territory of this job. It's not an unstressful environment. But if it gets to the point where it's impacting your day-to-day life and in a negative way, and you're losing sleep or not eating or any of those types of things, there's people out there that'll help you out. Reach out to the people services group, reach out to your superintendent, PM, myself, Rick, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here that care, and will do what they can to help you out.
Exactly. And I think the key thing is if you don't want to shut it down, your body will shut it down for you, if you get to that point. And that's in a lot of different ways it can do that. It did happen to me in my career, where my body said enough's enough and it shut down. And so it took me a while to get back from that, but I always am willing to tell people that, and very openly about, you've got to really think about this. And I think the key thing that we're learning in industry too, that RO's done very well, is we need to be more aware of our employees and people around us, and paying attention to them and seeing if there's changes, things that don't look right. I had an example of a job I was on where we had a senior PM. He was crashing, and his appearance was changing. Everything was just, he wasn't the right guy, right? Same guy. And unfortunately, he took his life. And it was very unfortunate, but all the signs were there. And I think that's part of, we have to step back sometimes and realize the job's not that important. It's the people we're with doing the job that's probably the most important thing. And we should be more aware of them and what's going on, and be willing to step in and just say, hey, something wrong, what's going on? So, yeah.
Yeah, that helping hand, just saying to someone, "Hey, I'm here for you," can be the difference in the decisions they make, and isn't to be underappreciated, because you just never know. Tough one. Gosh. No, I got to cut myself. We're good. Try to pull back from that one.
Yeah.
It has been a wild ride of a show here with all.
Well, no, I get
all
an
the
extra 5
excitement
minutes
and the-
because of the power downage.
Yeah.
Right? So what's
Well,
up with that? It's in my contract. Read it.
Oh, what contract? That was an email. That's barely a contract.
It's got your name on it.
Yeah, that's oh boy. Now I'm in trouble. Gosh, now this is one of those moments where I'm trying to read what I wrote down. I have no idea what that says, but that's all right. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the softball thing. Like you're just able to in the Air Force be like, hey, I'm gonna go play softball for a week.
Well, no, I played on an Air Force team. We go out and do tournaments and stuff. I
Okay.
didn't leave the Air Force, but
Gotcha.
and then it rolled out when I got out. I did the same thing too as well. But and like I said, I just, I was as they would say, I was a pretty fast white boy in my day. So I had some wheels, and they used to call me Wheels. And
Yeah.
my nickname in high school was Rocket Rick.
Rocket Rick.
We were the Rockets. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, this is making sense with the track and all
Yeah,
that now.
yeah.
Yep, and playing softball, hitting
Yep.
those bases real quick.
Yeah.
Man, that's if you could go back and live life all over again, what would you want to change?
There's not a lot because my life was important to make me who I am today. So wanting to go back and change things doesn't always make sense because you would be a different person completely. But I think the biggest thing is not to take things so seriously and not to listen to the world of who they think you should be, but find out who you really are and just make that a strong person. And I think that's the key. But as far as it's why I'm strong. It's why I have the personality I have. It's just why a lot of things are the way Rick is because that's what I lived. I mean, I did have a rough life, a very rough life, and that's a whole nother show. But it's made me a really better person for all that. And so taking all that back just wouldn't make sense at this point. I don't know who I'd be. So
It does. It seems that those hardships and those difficulties and the challenges in life are the ones that really sculpt you into the person that you are.
correct.
It's not the easygoing college years or fun-loving high school years or anything like that. It's those. Not to say those periods of time can't be challenging or tragic or anything like that, but it's whenever those may occur, those are really what seem to sculpt us as people.
Correct.
I think we've got time for one more question
Okay.
here, Mr. Brown. What do you love about RO?
What I love about RO is the professionalism and the people are just willing to just dive in and help. I mean, whoever you meet's just like, yeah, what do you need? Can I help you? That's huge. And I think it still has the family atmosphere, which is important because we are a family. We truly are. And I just think the fact that RO is really concerned and wants you to grow and wants you to be successful. And even when you might be having hard times, they're stepping in right away to go, how can we help you? It's not like, okay, you got problems, you need to go deal with that. And, because you're affecting us. And it's not that. It's saying, no, what do you need? We're coming up beside you to help you out if you need it. And I think a lot of that happened during COVID and other situations since I've been here almost 4 years, seen, and it's just been phenomenal. So.
I'm happy a lot with the professionalism.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the starts with the people.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yep.
What else though?
What else? What else? Well, all the perks. I love the free stuff
Yeah.
at the store.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, it's not free. What am I saying? Okay.
We'll make sure the people services and marketing team get that
Yeah, exactly.
get that
Just-
quote.
Yeah, just kidding.
Hey, at least you've got some place where you can go get stuff though, right? Go get
Yeah,
yourself a nice
exactly.
RO pullover.
I
or,
like it.
You
Yeah.
know, some I don't know, whatever's out there, hats, water bottles, probably anything you can imagine. I bet you
Yep.
can probably get a RO branded PlayStation 4 if you look for one hard enough,
Yeah.
or 5 or whatever the numbers are. I don't know.
I'm looking for the RO joke book, and I haven't found it yet.
RO joke book.
So,
You just made somebody's day. I think. You're
Well,
gonna
I'll
get a phone
tell you
call on
what,
that.
guys, I'm here for you all day.
I think between you and Mr. Porter, we could really assemble something that's
I think we
a
could.
powerful means of communication.
You know he plagiarizes me, right? Okay.
I don't know if that's working to your
Oh,
favor
wait a
right
minute.
now.
Okay. All right. I better stop. I'm going to get on a roll here.
Oh, that's too funny, man. We'll have to do something in the future with you and Mr. Porter, and just let you two go
we can make
on
that
for a
happen.
minute there.
Yeah. Can make that happen.
I'm gonna remember that one down. Thank you to everyone for jumping on board today. I'm sorry, I know we had some technical difficulties there, but believe it or not, this isn't a live TV broadcast production studio team here. These are a bunch of adventurous R&D ops and VDC folks. So again, I apologize, but we're getting better every time. Next week we'll have Colby Gagliano on. So we've got a Austin VDC fella coming on board, and he's got quite the story to tell from being an intern in his course of study, and then going into ops and spending some time there before coming back to VDC. It'll be a lot of fun to hear what his journey has been like. I'm going to leave out what the I'm sorry. It was you had a safety acronym there.
ASS, acute
Yes.
safety syndrome.
Acute safety syndrome.
Yeah.
Go look for that on
I have
on
the
YouTube.
DVD, so
That's perfect. Yeah, we can burn a copy out for everybody. Make sure if you're out there and you're a leader, even if you're not a leader or manager in title, make sure you're not leading over. Manage from below, not above. Think about that servant leadership and ways you can improve yourself and others, and let the leaves take the stress away.
that's right.
It's all good. You can relax. You can enjoy life. You don't need to fret every little thing. Find a way to enjoy life, and happiness and fulfillment will come to you. All right.
Thanks for having me, RO Nation.
Thank you, Rick. We'll see you
bet.
later.
Bye.